A couple weekends ago, I was chatting up a man from Louisiana who is big hunter, fisher, kind of outdoorsy guy. And I said, "Hey, wait a minute. Have you ever eaten Nutria?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, Nutria is amazing. If you ever have a chance to eat Nutria, you should take it." And I thought to myself, well, I'm probably not going to ever have the chance to eat Nutria. So imagine, and I forgot all about the conversation. And then I'm reading in my feed that Fish and Wildlife, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, is now encouraging the public to hunt down and eat nutria because this invasive rodent um, is posing a threat to livestock and pets and people. They look a lot like beavers. Their backs are super arched and their tails are long and thin. They don't have like a wide flat tail like a beaver. They have enormous bright orange teeth. They're so freaky looking. And they burrow and they eat. They're destroying plants to keep marshes stable. They're causing erosion and they're damaging wetlands. And so U.S. Fish and Wildlife says, listen, you need to go get you some nutria. If your state has nutria, and they're in more places than I thought, check your local regulations for the rules on hunting them. And then you need to ultimately cook these nuisance critters. It's dark meat that's similar to like rabbit or dark turkey meat, and it's real good in gumbo. So now, Lamar, and by the way, in case you're wondering, where are these nutria? Are they only in Louisiana? No, no, no. Are they only in like Texas? No, no. Florida? No. They're also in Oregon, Washington, Maryland, Ohio, California, Massachusetts, and New York. So they're not just like living in the bayou, they're getting everywhere. So I must ask you, Lamar, have you eaten a nutria? Would you eat a nutria? And why not?
No, but if they need me to kill one, I mean, I will. I mean, if they're bad, but I can't. I'm looking at them. I'm looking. There's no way.
They get the big ones. The big ones clock in at about 20 pounds, couple of feet
20
long.
pounds.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, you get enough bacon and butter in there? Come on, you tell me you can't eat an invasive rodent?
I don't know. The rodent part of it's tough for me. Listen. I was out walking the other day, and I walked by a van that had pulling a trailer, and I thought it was rolls of grass or something. I get up there, and it's 6 wild hogs that he had shot. And I'm looking at them wild hogs, and I'm like, "What are you doing with that?" He goes, "We'll make sausage." I said, "Okay." He said, "You want me to bring you some?" I said, No, I'm good.
I'm disappointed in you. You're so uppity. You know, you take the boy out of Hartwell, Georgia, and now he won't eat a rodent basted in butter.
No. I hate to be highfalutin, I really do, but
you are though. You're real highfalutin now that you're turning down the nutria.
Leave us a talk back with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Hey, Sheri and Lamar. I'm listening to the podcast, and you guys are talking about nutras, and I have to share a quick little story. In college, we had a friend who met a girl. They started dating, and it was around February. And for Valentine's, he got a pleasant surprise. Her dog got into a nutria, and she thought it was a good idea to boil this thing and dry the bones in the oven. Apparently, it smelled awful. And she painted the skull of the nutria black and painted the teeth red and ended up giving it to our buddy as a Valentine's gift. He looked at it and we were all like, "That's really weird, man." Yeah. Well, they ended up getting married after only knowing each other for about 3 weeks. And that marriage didn't last very long. But that's our nutria story of our buddy getting that for Valentine's Day. And we were all like, with our mouths open, like, "What is happening?" Anyways, love you guys.
That's a freak flag flying right there, buddy. Whoa.
I have to say that is a spooky girl. That is a spooky girl. Max had a spooky girlfriend once, and he used to, what was that song you used to, "Love is kind of crazy."
That's spooky a girl like you. Yeah. Remember, Sheri met her and went, "Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you."
Oh, I liked her. I liked her so much. She was the kind who would stuff a Nutria and paint its teeth red, though. I mean,
she is. Yeah, she was the one that early in the relationship, we went like on the mountains and we're looking at this beautiful overlook, and she went, God, you could ditch a body here and no one would know.
She was so pretty, and she was smart, and she was darkly, brutally edgy, and I was like, Max, I really like her. I'm just sad she's going to kill you. You'll probably get away with it.
Bob and Sheri books, swag, and the mother of all mothers merch. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com.
Hey guys, this is Sophia from Yuma, longtime listener. I have a question. You were talking about, Sheri, you were talking about visiting your mom in April, and Max's parents came up. And I know that they were in their 100, 101, 102. So I was wondering, how old is Max? Is he like 80? Just curious. I always wanted to know. But since it came up, I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Well, let me answer this, because this makes Max really uncomfortable. So Max's parents, to me, were always like, older people. They were old people. Of course they were. They were over 100 when they died. But then one day, Max and I were talking. We were working on a True Weird Stuff episode, and we were talking. And Max said, hang on, let me send you this picture that I just got of my dad. It was shortly after his dad passed. And Max texts me this photo, and his dad looks like a Hollywood TV detective. Like, he is so hot that smoke was coming up off of him. And I'm looking at Max's dad. I'm studying this picture. And now in this photo, Max's dad is probably 48 years old in a freaking suit that looked like he was born wearing it, with this chiseled jawline and this sort of like sexy devil-may-care look on his face. And I said, Max, I completely understand why you were a late life oopsie baby now that I've seen your dad. Your parents, even though your mom was like, I'm done, Frank, get off me.
Please don't do this to me. Please don't do this
my God.
So listen.
Don't do this to me.
No, listen.
Well,
listen.
Hope you get a good night's sleep tonight, Max.
Max is not 80 years old, but we can't speak of this anymore. Look how upset he is. I'm just telling you,
God.
when Frank came through the door, Fran was like, oh, all right, one more time. I mean, he was...
When I look at pictures, of course, but when I look at a picture of my mother and father, they were both hot. They really were.
It's insane. It's insane. Max was literally, you have to understand, he's the baby of the family. Max was literally like, even his siblings were like, wait, where did that come from? He was a surprise. No, we never could speak of it again. He's very uncomfortable.
Thank you, Sheri. We have another talk back.
Thinking of his hot parents tussling. All right,
another talk back.
Hey, Sheri, Lamar, and Max. This is Ree from North Carolina. I was calling in regards to the snuff conversation. I've been a nurse for 30 years. And in that time of being a nurse, worst whooping I ever got was from this little granny who was coming off of her snuff. So yes, you do put it between your lower lip and your gum line. Just like sticking your tongue in your lower lip and sort of pooching out. That's a snuff pouch. This little granny was not given her snuff when she was in the hospital. And she was probably a good 80 pounds soaking wet. And when she went into withdrawal, she beat the tar out of all of us. So, yes, it definitely does give them a buzz. Yes, it definitely does calm them down. Once she had her snuff, life was grand, and she was the sweetest little granny you could ever imagine. But that is where they put it. They call it the snuff pouch. It's between the lower front jaw area, right below your teeth, and your gum line. That's where they put their snuff. And way back when, according to my daddy, who would be in his 90s now if he were still alive, his grandma used a little stick to pack her snuff in. So there you go. Hope that helps.
What a fancy lady your daddy's mama was. Little snuff stick. Not having to use her finger like the with the rest of everyone.
I had no idea there was so much knowledge
neither.
about snuff within our listeners. I had no idea.
I didn't
Once
realize
again-
there was even one nurse alive in the world who'd been attacked by a snuff withdrawal grandma. That is not something I thought would ever be.
See, when I bring up these things, y'all look at me like I've got 3 heads or something. But all of a sudden, they see I'm not wrong about these things.
Sure, we're just a little. I think we're a little too uppity, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
we
off
are.
your
We're
high
si-
horse.
Look at us.
That's right.
Look at us being city folks. Yeah.
Yep.
Leave us a talk back with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Aloha Lamar, Sherry, Max, and Doc. It's Zoe from Hawaii. My mom and I just listened to the show, and there was a talkback with a really loud cafeteria. You mentioned you didn't know of any schools that had an ambassador system for new students. Well, my public middle school has one, and I'm in it. It's called Aloha Ambassadors, and when new kids come to school, we give them tours, and we invite them to sit with us at lunch. Hope this makes you have hope. I love listening to your show on the way to school. It starts my day off on a good note. Mahalo.
Oh, mahalo,
love
Zoe. I love that
love
too.
that.
I wish that were standard in all the schools. And I just think
Hi,
it
Bob
isn't-
and Sherry.
I
Sorry-
think it
sorry
isn't
about that.
because so many adults forget what it's like to be a kid and how terrifying and horrible it is to be the new kid in school. If you remember,
I would love
that, you would
I would love
do
that job
something
if I
about
was in
it.
school. I would love that job. Listen, I am that guy. If somebody comes in, I remember I had a buddy of mine, Kurt Adams. He moved here from like Florida or something. He rolls up in there with a loud shirt and shorts on, and we're all got blue jeans on and whatever. And I mean, he was so out of place, it was crazy. And he was just begging to be made fun of and blah, 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 blah. And I immediately hooked up with him, and, because I didn't want him to, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be the new kid. I would not want to be the new kid. So I always like to talk to the new kid, because I don't know.
It's the worst. And it's the same when you start, if you're an adult and you start a new job and you don't, like, we all know each other, and we haven't had to like walk into a building where we didn't know a living soul.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
my desk. There's my cube. Here's the key to the bathroom. It's so overwhelming. I wish people were nicer. I think we have another talk back, Max, don't we?
Hi, Bob and Sherry show. I'm not giving my name to protect the innocent, but longtime listener, I have a condiments in your car story for you. It was the late 80s or possibly early 90s. And someone that I know said that you could get free condoms at the local Hardee's. And his friend said, "Really? Are you sure?" And these individuals were teenagers, so it sounded quite exciting. So they went and checked it out, went to the drive-thru at the Hardee's, and finally the friend saw a sign and it said, "Free condiments available upon request."
Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest. You could, at that age, you probably needed condiments more than you needed condoms. I mean, that condoms was probably wishful thinking. You could still get a pack of mayonnaise and use that. I mean, come on.
But would you trust? Would you trust a condom from there? I mean,
No,
Hardee's,
no, I would not.
condom.
No, I would not. I would not.
You know what's so great about that story? There's a thing that goes around online periodically, and it's millennials saying we didn't even really have the internet, and we managed to start a rumor about Marilyn Manson that swept the country because they didn't have social media. Do you remember what that rumor
Yeah.
was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that he had
Yeah.
a certain body part, some things removed so that
Yeah.
he could get
Yeah.
to some things.
yeah.
That whole, they got free condoms at Hardee's. That's the sort of thing that would like go viral before there was social media to make it go viral.
Sort of
kids.
shows how the reading standards were at that time. If you're reading condoments and you're thinking it's a condom.
But the way that stuff used to catch rumors used to catch fire like that, there was a guy, his name was Jerry Panicoli. He got hired by like Inside Edition or a Current Affair. Do you know what I'm talking about, Max?
No, I don't know this story.
So
I want
he was
to know it though.
he was. It's very similar to the Richard Gere rumor.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah, okay,
So
gotcha.
He was like a big local TV guy in Philly, and he had a chance to jump to, I think it was a current affair. But the rumor went, and this is pre-social media again, so you have to wonder, like, did people go door to door with this? The rumor hit that he had enjoyed the affections of a small rodent, and that was it. That was it for him. It ended.
I'm glad you brought that up. All the rumors I heard when I was a kid, and you're right, there was no internet. But the rumors were still media. All across the country. Yeah.
And that just shows you what humans are capable of, even without technology.
We love some gossip. We love it.
Instant access to the podcast, fun size, and more with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Hi, gang. This is Debbie calling from Oregon. I just listened to your Monday podcast when Sheri was talking about losing her favorite cat and the vet and how compassionate. Also, to look for kind people out in the world because we forget about that. Anyway, today I was at the vet picking up my kitten who had just been spayed, and I watched the people in the waiting room talk about their pets and how compassionate and loving they are. And each of the vet techs were being so kind and considerate and listening to their silly stories. And the vets were being so kind to each person, telling them what they need to do for their pets. I think vets and pet people are just super, super kind people. Because I had been at a doctor's appointment earlier this week and had the most rude doctor tell me, there's just no more we can do for you. You're just going to have to figure it out. I don't think a vet would ever tell you that unless it was end of life for your pet. They're always going to try to make things better. But anyway, I just happened to look around the waiting room and listen to people just because of what Sheri was talking about today and how wonderful veterinarians are and the people who have pets. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for everything. I enjoy you every day.
I am so glad that you called because I do think that being a vet is such a special kind of medicine because your patients cannot tell you anything with words. They have lots of other ways to communicate, but they can't tell you anything with words. And you're not only dealing with the animal who is sick and needs care or maybe is facing, end of life, but you're dealing with the grieving people and their feelings and their fears. And that is just like, that is some powerful calling.